Hey everyone, it's Laura Myers for CMS Connected here at Sitecore Symposium, and I'm joined by Brandon Rizal, the VP of Solution Strategy at RightPoint. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, throughout the event we've had a lot of really great conversations, and one of them is about your experience in the healthcare vertical. So tell us about the kind of digital trends and challenges that are there.
Yeah, so healthcare is one of the, let's say, sleepier verticals to wake up to digital transformation and change. By and large, you look at the last 10 years of transformation, starting with the launch of the iPhone, which shifted how consumers think about information as a value ecosystem. What that means in terms of healthcare, previously, 7 years ago, if I went into a client and said the word customer instead of patient, I'd get thrown out the door.
Yeah.
There's this old paradigm of health where doctors sort of are delivering sacred knowledge down to people, and our job as consumers or patients is to follow that to good care outcomes. What changed is now as a culture we're research-based. I have a device in my pocket, as do you, that 60,000 times more powerful than sent man to the moon, right? So I have taught myself that I can probably be a 5-minute expert on most topics that I care to investigate, and that gives me a different relationship with information and with people who are experts. So you now have consumers, and now we are using that term in healthcare, who are coming into a doctor's visit with ideas about their care plan, and they're looking at the physician as a collaborator. So we've started seeing big shifts with certain health systems in trying to understand that sort of user customer-centric reality and trying to build change as well as new digital and offline interfaces that allow them to take advantage of that. The thing to remember in healthcare that I think is very interesting is it is a services organization. It's highly specialized, but it's services. We're sitting here at Disney today, and when I ask my healthcare clients, who do you aspire to be? They're all going to say Mayo and Cleveland in terms of brand recognition and reputation. But when you talk about digital, who's really doing digital well, they're not looking at their peers with eager eyes. They're looking at the services industry. So it's Ritz-Carlton, it's most airline firms, and it's service design companies like Disney who have done an incredible job of creating that integrated loyalty loop.
Yeah. And so in terms of digital empathy, that's a word I heard you using earlier, so let's discuss that a little bit.
Yeah, we put something out in the market last year. Me and a couple of my colleagues authored a piece that's just an idea starter called Digital Empathy or Transformation in Children's Health. It's a sneaky trick. So we focus specifically on children's health. In healthcare situations, 85% of the time, head of household female is the primary influence on their own or a family's care decision. Of all demographics, it's predominantly female. So you think about the research journey, you think about social influences, you have a woman that's making the decision for herself and her family. Well, the women, the head of household females who are primary decision makers in children's health are almost exclusively under the age of 45. So they fall into the digital native category, meaning that it's a first language for them. So they're naturally using digital interfaces to try to help fuel that decision journey to make better informed decisions. In the CPG world, for a commerce journey, somewhere around 52% of the decision is made before the client or prospect ever comes onto your owned digital property. So before they ever make it to your .com, they've already done research that has informed that journey. In a healthcare decision journey, it's 87%. So when you just think about the long sort of syndicated content that you're using around brand reputation, around care and outcomes, it's predominantly digital in children's health consideration, and there's so much of it that is already formulated before that prospect ever comes to your site. What we're challenging systems to think about with digital empathy, and it applies to all of healthcare, but it's much easier for people to understand in the context of I have a younger primary decision maker, is they need to become customer-centric. There's a lot of companies doing digital things. There's very few companies becoming digital. Deloitte CMO survey last year talked a lot about the fact that I think 62% of the surveyed companies admitted they were doing more sophisticated digital things, but that wasn't fully integrated into who the organization was. And so if you look at that digital transformation swing in healthcare, digital empathy is a way, I think, to help people understand the implications of becoming customer-centric and thinking about increasingly digital touch points as the way that they convey their brand and ultimately start to factor a loyalty loop. Healthcare organizations, there's 5,300 roughly in North America. That number is shrinking by 5 to 7% a year because they're acquiring one another. They're doing that to gobble up more planned care members, but they're also doing that to own more specialized care. They want to be able to service any potential need, no matter how specialized, that might come in a family or come to an individual.
Yeah.
So they are trying to achieve a loyalty loop, which is why we look at Ritz or Disney or others to create that value ecosystem. So digital empathy is really encountering the customer where they are, encountering them in those moments of needs in the channels they're choosing that could be influential in helping them understand their choices and making a really informed care decision forward. And that's just on sort of the how you acquire and how you service from an external perspective. There's many implications in operational care, things that are happening inside the hospital, navigation systems. So we worked on a project last year where we built a native app that interfaced with a kiosk infrastructure for a very modern hospital. So imagine if you walk to the front door, you trip the geofence, it is aware that you're on property. If you give it access through the device, it gives you the ability to automatically check in. It informs you average wait times, average delay times. Your visit is going to be here, the restrooms are here, the cafe is there. So you are fully managing the expectations of that patient experience in the context where how we think of most care considerations. How many times do you have to take your ID and your plan card out of your wallet before you ever get to the exam room? The average is 3 to 5 times. So in a high stress situation where your stress levels actually have a measurable impact on your care outcome, you're being treated like a complete stranger. Versus the alternative where we understand that digital touch point, we understand how technology can ease those online offline fracture points to create a situation where the customer feels valued and appreciated, they feel known, and you're measurably lowering their stress levels to create a much more success care continuum. That's digital empathy.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much. This has been great.
Thank you.